How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drew Estate Cigar Studios on the road at Hemingway Social Club in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 149 of How About That Cigar Live. Thanks so much for joining us live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and for those of you listening after the fact on the audio podcast, thank you so much for listening while you drive down the road, work out, whatever it is you do when you listen to your favorite audio podcast. Thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your podcast rotation. As always, we are in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios, and let's talk about the announcement that Drew Estate just made. They are bringing back the Barn Smoker program, and it's returning in 2022. It's going to be bigger and better than ever before, announced during the February 17th Freestyle Live. The 2022 Barn Smoker program will consist of these epic and memorable events. On May 13th through the 15th, Florida Barn Smoker in Claremont, Florida. July 15th and 16th, the Pennsylvania Barn Smoker in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. August 12th and through the 14th is the Connecticut Barn Smoker in Ellington, Connecticut. September 30th through October 1st, Kentucky Barn Smoker in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And finally, the Pièce de Résistance is October 21st and 22nd, the Savage Feast in Parker, Texas. On the Friday night before every Barn Smoker event, Drew Estate will host DE25 exclusive pre-parties where those lucky enough to attend will be the first to experience new Drew Estate cigar launches. The DE25 exclusive pre-parties will take place of the original single-day DE25 event that was postponed last year due to COVID-19. These 5 new DE25 exclusive pre-parties will allow Drew Estate to share their milestone with more people in a more intimate setting to enjoy spirits, appetizers, and savor succulent pork roasted from a heritage pig. For more info on the Drew Estate 2022 Barn Smokers.
So, tonight,
you
look succulent.
Ooh.
I was going to say moist.
I guess
Moist, succulent, and moist.
I feel a certain kind of way right now.
Yeah.
But no, it's all good. It's all good. So, guys, we are here. We are live, and we are not going to wait any longer. There's no small talk tonight. There's no sports to talk about.
Mm-mm.
The Wild are losing. That's they suck right now. So,
boo.
We are here live at Hemingway Social in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I got to meet Angelo at Cigars and Baseball back in September of last year.
Yeah.
Fantastic event. And then we recently met Brian at the TPE trade show. So, guys, if you would please, on How About That Cigar Live, put your hands together for Founders Cigar Company.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Josh and Janae, for having us too at Hemingway.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this place is incredible.
Yeah, it's a really great place to hang out, to relax, and maybe throw a couple back, just relax for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like we said, we got to know about you guys at Cigars and Baseball last year. That is definitely an event we're not going to miss again. We had an absolute blast there.
We RSVP'd the next day for the next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have dates.
So, and actually, before we get into, we got tons of cool questions for you guys. But before we get into that, it is time for the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust toast cam. So, Garrett, if you would please, while I toast my fine cigar here.
When lighting your cigar, it is important to be patient, pay close attention to detail, and focus on the tobacco. In the same way, Steve Saka brings those same qualities to the ultra premium cigars of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton has a blend that will fit your palate, your mood, and any occasion. Visit DunbartonCigars.com to learn more.
It's a quality light.
Yummy. I always use up so much butane when I light cigars. If I ever ask to borrow your lighter, just say no, because I'll use up all of it.
Yeah. See, and every time I fill a butane, I try to tune it because I'm so stingy that I try to get that flame as low as I can, so 100%. It still works, but it's like kind of sputtering a little bit too. So
that's the one bad thing about the Zippo with the butane insert. It doesn't
hold a lot of butane.
And I want to remind everybody, we've already got comments coming in, and that's a good sign that you guys saw it today, earlier posted. But Angelo, if you would please hold up that beautiful box there. You guys live tonight on Facebook and YouTube. If you go into the comments and put #founders, this beautiful executive box is going to be yours.
Yep.
Go into the comments,
snap.
and we're
Get
gonna draw the winner at the end of the show tonight. So don't miss a thing. And can go ahead and put #founders in the comments.
It's our sampler, so it has 16 cigars, 4 each, Connecticut, dual wrap, Habano, Maduro, and then it's got a custom veneer covered Zippo, and then it's got a V-cut with a punch cutter and
Custom box.
by Woodchuck USA here in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah, it's a great presentation. So one of you guys is going to be the lucky winner of that tonight. So stay with us through the end of the show when we announce the lucky winner. So, guys, like I said, we've started to get to know you and your story, and got to know you a little bit at Cigars and Baseball. But, that was sort of a show. It was maybe 12 minutes we got to spend with you. And on this show, we really like to dig into people's sort of origin stories. So
It's gonna
Angelo,
get Dr. Phil right now.
it's gonna get we're gonna go
We're
very
going.
Dr. Phil.
We're going.
Our goal is tears,
Okay.
not like full on blubbering, but just like a little mistiness.
Not quite James Lipton.
Okay.
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 So, but like right before James.
Yeah.
Before James Lipton.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's start with and we'll start with you, Angelo.
Okay.
Tell us about your first premium cigar experience.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I started with pipe tobacco before I got into cigars. And for me, it was in college. I felt like I did things a lot earlier. So I got married young, about a house young. I did all that stuff young. And it just made sense to buy a pipe at my own house. So I was like, of course I'm going to go buy a pipe. And then that led to spending a lot of time at places like the Golden Leaf, which is now Anthony's in Uptown, and a lot of those lounges. And then had a couple business experiences where started a company in my last year of college with some guys, and we had a once a week meeting at Golden Leaf. And so the pipes turned into tobacco, turned into meetings, turned into all that stuff. So, I mean, my earliest experiences with premium tobacco was around business meetings in some of the more premium lounges in Minneapolis.
Nice. And Brian, you were talking a little bit about this earlier before we went live, but tell us your cigar origin story.
Yeah, so not as sexy as Angelo here. I grew up with a dad. He smoked pipe tobacco in the house. It was, after dinner, we'd go downstairs, throw on the TV, watch a show or something like that, and he'd light up his pipe tobacco. He smoked cigars. My first cigar was on a deployment 20 years ago. So my first deployment in 2002. Then I worked nights. And the fire team leader that I was working with, I was the 60 gunner. He was a big cigar guy. We'd go park somewhere after doing, our routine, perimeter checks. And so then we'd sit on the back of the Humvee and smoke a cigar.
Nice.
That's awesome. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support. Yeah. So 20 years.
Yeah, which is way cooler of a story than mine. I was just an old soul who bought a pipe and then had a business meeting. Like your
story is sexier. I agree. It's sexier. Yours is more honorable.
Yeah.
So do you want to be honorable or sexy?
You could be both.
Yeah,
you could be both.
Honorably sexy.
Honorably sexy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kind of fast forward to where you guys are at today.
Yeah.
When you guys got to know each other, actually take us to that story when you guys first met each other and how you got to know each other as friends.
Look into my eyes.
I can't even look at you right now. I'll tell the story. So we'll skip.
This is when the tears start to.
Yeah. So it was. We woke up in jail together.
Yes.
Those aren't pillows.
The truth shall set you free.
There was one set of clothing between the two of us. I had the pants on. He had the shirt on.
Dope.
Yeah. No, it was. So Brian worked for a trigger manufacturer in Minneapolis.
I thought you were going to say software.
I did too.
No, we only have an hour here. We don't have time to tell your software company story. But Brian, like I know the guy. Brian works for a manufacturer, and a mutual friend of ours invited me to go shooting with these guys competitively. So really, I mean, what's cool about the cigar industry and the gun industry, there's a ton of overlap as it relates to community. And so this us shooting competitively for that season was a time where, you get out, you go shoot a bunch, then you go to a restaurant. We did a lot of talking about Jesus at that time too. So it was, and currently, but that was a time where really there was a lot of overlap around that central thing of the competitive shooting, which has a ton of similarities with the cigar industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then as you guys, got to know each other more, what was that conversation like? Because I always want to be a fly on the wall when people have these conversations that lead to starting a business.
Yeah.
So what was, if we were a fly on the wall, what did that conversation look like when you guys sat down and decided to start a cigar company?
What were you wearing?
What were you wearing?
Set the scene.
Well, I mean, back up a little before that. So we got into business. We do business development for a living. So we do business development in the gun industry. And we had a couple experiences where kind of the takeaways from those experiences were, we're good at this. We're good at helping people scale and grow and get into the nitty gritty of it all. Why don't we do that for ourselves? And to avoid conflict with some of our clients where we didn't want to start another gun company or accessory company where we'd be potentially competing with a client.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something that was similar to the industry. We could use a lot of the context. I mean, Brian's built up a ton of just social equity in the gun industry. So having that to lean on too, we wanted to do something. So I do remember it. And you tell the story well because of your reaction to what I told you. So why don't you take it from here?
It was August. It was a year and a half ago. It was August 2020.
Yeah.
And you walked into the office and you asked me, what do I think about cigars?
Yep.
And it was just one of those like mornings where, what do I think about cigars? So I don't smoke a lot of cigars at the time.
Yep.
Now it's daily.
Yep.
And I think my reaction was, I smoke cigars. Why? What are you asking? And so he followed up with, what do you think about starting a cigar brand or cigar business? And I'm just kind of like,
and to back up, I had been researching this for about 3 months before this conversation. I had reached out to suppliers.
Unbeknownst to Brian.
All right.
Let's back up just a little.
Let's back up. We keep backing this train up.
I used to work for a software. One of the businesses that kind of we got the rug pulled out from under us was a coffee company.
Okay.
So in the gun industry, Black Rifle Coffee is very well known. They IPO'd for like $1.8 billion. And so in the veteran-owned boutique coffee industry, right, or just in that space, right, there's a lot of these coffee companies popping up. We partnered with a guy. We built a playbook, a business model around starting a veteran-owned boutique coffee, and we did well. And then we got the rug pulled out. And so we were 3 months post getting the rug pulled out. And, this guy's been like, I've been mopping up his tears for 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had a lot of shower thoughts in that time period. Mm-hmm. This was a shower thought where he came in one morning and was like, hey, let's do this.
But I also knew that, I mean, we've been working together for a couple of years at this point too. So I knew that I couldn't just throw it out into the universe without having any substance behind it. So, I mean, I think in like June and July, even before that, I was reaching out to suppliers and different factories and different people and different companies.
You were
and
really digging.
I want to know what this takes.
And you're saying this was in 2020.
This was 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. June, July.
If it was 2020, I'm like, if we're 3 months into a lockdown, a global lockdown, and you're doing this, I'm like, that's just balls of steel.
2019. I misspoke there. 2019.
Yeah. So did a little bit of the foundation. I kind of had an idea. I hadn't got any samples from anyone yet, but I was like, I feel like I know what I'm doing here. So I'm just like, I know what it takes to run a cigar company. So
for your viewers too, Angelo's a mechanical engineer by trade, so an engineer. So he researched that heck out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I said, what do you think about cigars? And he's like, I mean, I smoke cigars. I'm like, what do you think about starting a cigar company? And then you had this response after that.
Yeah. So I said 2 things. One, let's not let it be a distraction.
Correct.
Day to day. And 2, let's not lose money.
Yeah. So we're still currently working on primary goal 1 and primary goal number 2.
Which we found out it takes about 10 years.
Yeah.
So we've got 8 more to go.
Correct. But yeah, so that was the conversation.
So I'm curious because we've talked to so many people who have started cigar companies from the ground up, just like you guys have. when you started gaining mentors, people who had experience in the cigar business, and you first started coming to them saying, hey, we're thinking about starting a cigar brand.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
You didn't do? Okay.
Yes, no.
So
that was gonna be my.
So where did you, because so many people, they get some mentors under them, and they sort of have somebody to guide their way. Where did you find the information that you found on, like, contacting people to make some test blends for you and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've been successful at building other people's businesses.
Yeah.
So we do have a playbook for which we're, going back and, using pages from that playbook.
Yeah. And that was the foundation, was that we've done a business development in an unknown entity before that uses a system where you find a coffee roaster, you find a supplier, you find even the gun industry, you find someone who can make you a product, So, I mean, the framework is relatively the same. Yeah. And that's about where things end.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, so that's what it was. It was using a lot of the things that we'd already done to that point of, got to find a supplier. I'm not going to release myself. Okay. Got to find someone to do bands, got to find someone to do cello, got to find someone to do boxes, got to find someone to do. So it was like, okay, there's needs of the company. And in order for me to sell to someone, I have to achieve all these things. Well, it's just to go achieve all those things. Yeah. And so that's really what it was. It was
when you don't know anything, like, you just kind of like, we're just doers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just figure it out. So we started figuring it out, and we failed over and over again for the last year and a half. So,
but the other thing that helped us a lot is there's an event in Georgia that happens every single year that is a event where huge manufacturers and a lot of the influencers in the gun industry get together. It's called the Epic Shoot, Big Daddy Unlimited Epic Shoot. This is a company that went from a couple of retail stores to multi hundreds of millions of dollars in a very short amount of time because they're good at what they do.
Yeah, guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, guerrilla marketing and all that. And so we were on the call with the guy who's running all the marketing, and he's like, yeah, what do you guys want to throw into the swag bag for us? And he's like, well, what do people do? He's like, oh,
our client was a silencer suppressor manufacturer. So we're going there with some cool stuff.
Yeah. And so we're like, what do people give away? He's like, shirts and hats and, patches. And we might have a guy do bourbon. I lean over and I'm like, what do you think about cigars? And he's like, oh, can I swear?
Sure. Of course.
Okay. I didn't know what if this is a family show,
No, this is not.
I know my wife said before this.
My kids
This
are
show
watching
is this show is for grown-ups only.
My wife says, don't swear to just fit in. I love you.
Yeah.
I hear that daily
this,
from my wife.
So Gina, this is a quote, but yeah, so I lean over and say, what about cigars? Like, oh, fuck yeah, let's put cigars in that. That'd be awesome.
That's
so,
right.
So that was the response. And so we get off that call and we look at each other like, I guess we just launched our cigar company. And so we went to that event and we launched. So the cigar you're smoking right now, we call that our signature. So it's a dual wrap. He's an Ecuador Habano and Connecticut wrapper, and it's got Nicaraguan and Dominican long fill. That's the one that we launched with.
And Teddy.
Yeah. And so, so we'll go over the blends a little bit, but anyway, we launched with that one at this event because it was visually appealing. It was something that if all these cigars, like,
oh, that's George Washington. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're smoking Teddy.
I'm smoking Teddy.
Yeah.
That's good. But realistically, across the table, if I'm smoking a Maduro and you're smoking a Maduro, they both look the same if I can't see the band.
Right.
But if someone's smoking a dual wrap, you can tell that it looks different.
Really stands out.
And so we wrapped up in an acrylic tube, like 150 or 250 of these, and we put a sticker on the outside of the tube to make it look like a suppressor. It was the exact dimensions of a 22 long rifle suppressor. We put it in the actual retail box, and they put these in 150 backpacks for all these influencers.
Okay, hold up though, because before we got to this place, you were working for a software company. You guys had to get samples. You had to, start reaching out to factories. To kind of piggyback on, Matt was saying, and I know you've built a lot of business and you have this playbook and that's awesome. But when it comes to cigars, how did you go about even contacting factories? And then once you did, how did you choose the factory and start working on the blend? Let's go there.
It was all based off of, I reached out to probably 15 people.
Okay.
And not all of them, if any of them, got back to me.
Okay.
So really it was easy so we've gone through 3 suppliers and we launched the brand in October of 2019, and then it probably took another 10 months to get everything figured out. And
Right,
in
June
that 10
2020.
months, there were 3 suppliers. Yeah.
Wow.
So we found a supplier. He wasn't the factory, but he had a relationship with the factory, and we loved his product, and it was really good. And he had some stuff that he was like, so we used some of the stuff that he had, and this dual wrap we had, a little bit of say in, and it was really good, and people really liked it. And the group of guys that I smoked with really liked it. And so that's the one. And so it was almost like to begin to really just get the ship launched. We didn't have that many options because of all the 15 people I reached out to, none of them got back to me.
Yeah.
And so we reached out to the ones that had good communication and good product, and I sampled a bunch of stuff. And so it came down to the samples that we were able to try and in the timeline that we had. And so, I mean, between it was like August and then October, we launched the website, got the products up, got all that stuff going, did that. And so after that is when we got a lot more complicated and a lot more involved with the process and got supplier number 2. And the way that I described the first couple of suppliers we were working with is supplier number 1 had awesome product. He wasn't the factory though, and his communication was terrible. We put a stocking order in, and he just disappeared.
Oh yeah,
like
we thought he died.
I was calling all the businesses around him at his location to say, "Have you seen this guy? Have you seen?" Because I haven't heard from him in 6 months. Did he get COVID and die?
We almost pulled the plug because of that.
Yeah, we almost just stopped because we had, I think it was a couple thousand cigars that we were supposed to get from him that he just like didn't respond to.
Yeah.
And then the second supplier we found, phenomenal communication. The product showed up in 2 days and all this stuff, but it was like, it wasn't something I was proud of.
Right.
It wasn't something I was happy with. And even we had to make concessions on the bands, and we had to make concessions on the product and all these different things. So it was like, that even took a long time too. Cause he's like, why aren't you pushing cigars? Cause I'm like, cause I'm not proud of this. I don't even want to bring this to the guys I smoke cigars with. And then this third supplier we found, they actually own the factory. So they're coming out of the Tamboril in the Dominican. And we got this guy, Ed is our guy. So they're based out of Orlando, but they own the factory in the Dominican. It's MJ Frias is who we get all of our cigars from. And they have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, they have been phenomenal to work with. Everything that we've asked them for, they've said yes to.
Nice.
Every blend, every development. Hey, we had 5 of those. I need 15 more of them. All right, great. We'll get them up to you. So, I mean,
and we're aggressive. And in fact, like Ed and Chris Frias are both like almost grateful that we pushed them because they're a smaller factory and they're setting up processes to just meet our demands.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're not being mean about it, but we're just like, we don't know better because we're coming from a different industry where we've built certain processes around certain things that we are kind of expected to, we are accustomed to. So then when we started asking Ed for these things, and Ed is he's a go-getter. He's got a military background. So he's just like, yeah, I'll go ask, and he's got the ear of Chris Frias, who is the owner of MJ Frias. And so every time it comes back, yeah, we'll get that done. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's been a awesome relationship with the factory.
Yeah, it's been so good, and the product is awesome. And so the stuff that we launched with has been great, and then the next 4 that we're working on are going to be great. And it's just the entire process has just been fun. But I mean, going back to that, to put a bow on the original story, so like the origin story is we went to that event, we put these cigars in these tubes, and people, when they open the box, like, oh my goodness, this is a suppressor box, like this is like a federally controlled item, like, and all this. But what's cool about it is there's some very strong and long lasting relationships we've made from that event, because a couple guys walked up to our table the next day and goes like, all right, gentlemen, you have my attention.
Yeah.
What do I have to see?
Yeah.
And so and then people kept smoking them and kept asking for more of them.
Yeah.
And where do I get these, and how do I get more of them, and all that? And the branding is awesome. The product is great. And we're like, okay, this isn't just a side thing. This is a full-time thing.
Yeah.
So something crazy just happened a few minutes ago.
Okay.
We were at the Great Smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not going to name names, but I was talking to a well-known cigar guy, and he says, hey, do you guys know about this company? I could have sworn they said they were from Minnesota, and they started the cigar brand, but they don't know shit about cigars.
Okay.
But they know a lot about business, and they're just starting to get their toes in. I like the guys, do you know? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sounds vaguely familiar. I mean, you had me at doesn't know shit about cigars.
But He said they have legs because he said, I love the angle that these guys are coming from because it's a new angle. Number one, I see the passion and they're starting to do the right things.
Love that.
Ugh.
Love that. And I will add on to what you're saying too. We don't tell, like, I'm not coming out to anyone I'm talking to acting like I'm knowing what I'm doing.
Sure.
We don't believe in fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I believe in, I need to tell you, I'm out here learning. I'm not trying to disrupt anything. I'm not trying to change the cigar industry.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing. And that's probably why we've been successful in a lot of areas. We don't know what shouldn't work.
Well, you're being transparent about that.
Yeah.
And you're navigating it in a way that I don't know that I've ever seen. I haven't been in the game for decades and decades to know if this is, ever been attempted before. But from what, from where I'm sitting and what I've seen, this angle, this approach to building cigars in the way that you have, I haven't seen it, and I respect the hell out of it. And I'm
appreciate
excited.
that.
Well, and I have a question I have to go back to, and I'm not asking you to name names.
Okay.
But those 15 people that you called who didn't get back to you.
Yes.
Were they cigar retailers? Were they brand owners, or a combination of both? Or were they none of the above?
Were they factories?
Factories?
Yes, they were. They would consider themselves factories and suppliers.
Okay.
And
Okay. All right. I was, again, don't name names.
Yep.
I was just curious to see.
You Googled white label cigars, right?
I Googled how to buy cigars with my brand on them.
Probably a Google question that gets asked at least 1,000 times a day.
100%.
Yeah, around the world, because it's so funny too, because even in the day and age we live in now, if you go back to when the lockdowns started, there are still people who are trying to make a go at this.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys started not long before the whole pandemic thing hit us.
Yeah.
And when that all happened, you guys just you didn't shrink away and say the timing's not right because of a pandemic. You actually pushed through it, and you sort of I like the fact that you and you can tell you guys have a background in this, because it wasn't just about, like you said, knowing about all the different leaves and where they're grown and how they're fermented, all this. It's about building interest in a brand.
Yeah.
From nothing, building interest in a brand that sort of grows organically.
Yeah.
And with that, the whole thing you did with that packaging, and that's what sticks in people's heads.
Let me clarify something. We did launch this in 2020. It was in 2019.
So you did all the preliminary work the year before, and then the launch was.
So you're saying this, yes, because I'm thinking back. Okay, let me clarify something. No. It wasn't 2019 we were trying to do. It was in the heart of 2020 that I was doing all this research and contacting people.
Really?
Wait. What year is it right now?
It's 2022.
2022. Okay.
Yeah, because we've been around for 18 months.
You're right.
Yeah.
So it was.
So So back up a little bit further.
Yeah.
In March of 2020, I started meeting with a group of guys every single Tuesday to smoke a cigar, and that's where the idea came from. Because in the heart of COVID, it was this grounding, and it gives you a chance to talk to people where you're not just stuffing stuff down all week. And 6 months later, realizing that how healthy this was to get around a cigar and meet with some guys and do all this thing. That's when I came to you in August and was like, what do you think about cigars? Yes. So it was the heart of 2020. I completely misspoke that and corrected you. I was wrong. It was 2020.
Well, and you guys can't see the what's going on the show right now, but we have live comments and stuff like that.
Oh, great. Everyone's calling us a bunch of idiots.
No, here's somebody who we consider a mentor and a great friend and a great person in the cigar industry, Luciano Morales. He owns Ace Prime Cigars, and they're in conjunction with Crowned Heads. They've become and he's got a very long time in the tobacco industry and working with tobacco. So he's one of the most encouraging, thoughtful people I've ever met in my life.
Love
And he posts here, he says, the future belongs to those who have the courage to create it.
Ooh.
So this is somebody who has a storied history in the cigar business, who is giving you guys encouragement.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We received that for sure.
And that's one of the cool, and we talked about this a little too before we went live, is there are so many generous people in the cigar business who will come alongside you. And that's why I was asking earlier about mentorship. Because there are people who will come alongside you and say, do this, don't do this.
Yes.
This is where I screwed up. This is what I learned when I tried this and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And really, I mean, when it comes to like trade shows or multi-vendor events, you know, if you guys continue to build relationships with people like Luis Cuevas and other people and Luciano, even though people are open books, they'll just help you along the way.
Well, even if I can tell a specific story about Luis Cuevas. So at TPE, Tim Long, which
was our first like entry presence into the cigar industry.
Yeah. So we've done trade shows, we've done things in the past, and we went to TPE as an attender because we just wanted to be immersed in this and learn. Like, again, we're just trying to get out here and learn how things happen. I mean, the cigar industry and the gun industry, they're these legacy industries that have done things a specific way for a long time. And there's a lot there. So we get introduced to Luis from Tim. And one of the things that just hammered me in the front of my brain was he made a comment. He's like, all right, I know you guys now, we're friends now. He's like, if you don't have a booth at PCA and you want to write some business, just come get me. You can sit them down in my booth. You can use my booth. You can use my resources. You can
that blew my mind.
Anything you guys need. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're a 5th generation cigar company, and you just met me, and like he gave us way too much time, and it was incredible, and I will never forget that.
So that kind of goes, if I may,
please go ahead.
When you started this venture, okay, and you were like, cigars, you know virtually nothing about the industry, right?
Correct.
And so how did your view of the industry change between then and now?
Great question. Yeah.
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm. We've learned a lot about pricing structure.
Correct.
Oh, that is like
a lot of tangibles.
How much time do we have?
Yeah. A lot of tangibles around. I mean, just the ins and outs. We knew that there was going to be some overlap between the two industries that were, cigars and guns, but learning about and I'll say this too, because we're trying to do an in-person humidor tour in Minneapolis now. So one of the core foundation of our company is just tricking people into creating community. That's literally why I tell people, like, the whole reason I have a cigar is to trick you into creating community with someone else. It is so hard not to get to know someone or spend so. I mean, think about it. We're sitting down, we're taking the time. You have to slow down. You can't rush through this. And so just seeing that apply to everywhere and seeing that sense of community in the cigar industry and all that is that surprised me a lot from TPE, is how willing people were to share and all that.
Is that unique in your experience to any other industry?
Oh yeah. Gun industry is very competitive.
Yeah.
Nobody's sharing playbooks.
No. It's
very cutthroat, and I would say a lot of fake friends where, you thought you had a company that you worked with, and they were, they reached out, they gave you an olive leaf, but really there's always an angle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just kind of humbling to talk to Luis at TPE and then everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, we met with all the brands. I mean, we went and visited them. We had conversations, we experienced TPE, and we have a booth at PCA. So we're really looking forward to, because TPE was us just doing research,
right?
And drinking from a fire hose, collecting data, making a decision on what the rest of this year looks like. And we know PCA is kind of like, the milestone. So
UHF style.
Yeah.
I don't know that reference.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
Nice. Okay, so
it's an old movie.
Homework. Okay. Weird Al.
Weird Al, the movie UHF. It's
UHF.
the movie he made in the 80s.
Got to do it.
Okay.
Got to do it.
Huge Weird Al fan.
Then, dude.
Yeah.
I'm at the state fair.
All right, put on your onesie.
Okay.
Watch UHF.
It's streaming free on Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
Go watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have your login.
Yeah, you do. He'll text me some random Friday like, "Hey, I just sent you $4 on Venmo. We got a movie." Like,
nice watch party. Yeah. So this is another thing, is we know you guys, there's the military backgrounds and there's the love of country, and but the obviously there's more to the story than that when it comes to the imaging and the branding and the name, even Founders.
Yeah.
So talk us through, when you sat down, you looked at him and you said cigars.
Yep.
And then how did that then morph into?
He had it all figured out.
Did you already have
August 2020 when I said, let's not lose money and let it not be a distraction. Yeah. He's like, so you're in.
Yeah. So shake my hand.
Yeah.
We're doing this.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. Ride this pony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he's like, all right, PowerPoint. Here we go. Let me go. This is the agenda. We're going to just walk us through the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's present the brand here.
Yeah. So Founders Cigar Company, and like full disclosure, I mean, Hamilton was huge at this time. So I mean,
true.
The soundtrack's playing 24/7. I'm really interested because what struck me about that time, and specifically about that time of our country, is no one really knows what they're doing. They're creating something that's never been created before. It's this new government system outside of a monarchy, and there's all these very wealthy and powerful individuals putting it all on the line to make something happen. And then you take that spirit and you fast forward the next couple hundred years and you see a similar spirit, not in the same individuals, but in different individuals from different walks of life that helped create and curate this country into what we all believe in and enjoy today. And so that's like the whole thing about our company. I mean, we have 4 blends. They're all named after historical U.S. figures. So Washington is on our signature that you're smoking there, Matt. And he's considered like the foundingest of the fathers. He's our main logo. And then we go to a Franklin, Connecticut. Franklin, he was just this thinker, and he had all these different things. He was an inventor and a printer, but he also worked for his brother for bunch of years and didn't take any credit. And so, I mean, just like the things that he did. And then you've got Douglas on our Habano, he's a slave turned abolitionist and orator and just, fought for civil rights. And then you've got, Roosevelt, which just kind of speaks for himself there too, the conservationist and all these different things. And what we wanted to show is that there is no one personality or one person who is responsible for what we all live in today.
Yeah.
There was just this continuation of this spirit of doing what is right, and all these different backgrounds and all these different walks of life that got us to where we are today. And we wanted to pay tribute to that.
I love it. And, I don't want to get partisan, but this obviously touches on politics. And yes, Hamilton was huge at the time you were developing this, but this is also when we started to see the culture of, the cancel culture, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And with the hot topic of some of these founding fathers,
right?
Did you at all discuss maybe some of that backlash in the future? Are we risking something by putting some of these figures
and I'll tack onto that.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any, not flack, but criticism or anything like that?
No, we've got some accolades on Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Roosevelt. Roosevelt's a class favorite for sure too.
Absolutely. Well, and how you guys are doing it is classy.
Right.
And the story and how that is fantastic.
I think the 4 that we launched with, were certainly more safe than some of the ones that we've talked about, like Jefferson. I threw out that one.
And Jefferson is the one that we've talked about too, because there's been some, I'd say recent, but Jefferson with some of the slaves and some of his relations and some of that, where it's like, oh, well, that might be one that could come up as having some negative press too, or whatever. But there haven't. What's nice about honestly, just the practicals of this brand is what's nice about it is there's a limitless pool to pull from. Yeah. There's also a limitless pool to pull from for limited editions. And we've talked about even doing events. Like maybe we do a limited edition where we release like 50 boxes and they're named after an event, or we do something with a monument, so, our line. And so some of the things that we try to tie in with our line is that we it's not a wine stock for a paper, but it's very close. We wanted to have that parchment feel. We wanted to have that older feel. And then we also wanted it to have that silhouette on it. So I will say that all of our bands from today till the end of time that are in our primary lines are probably always going to have a silhouette on it. And to us, that's kind of the unifying feature of our
in the 13 stars.
Yeah, and then we've got the 13 stars on the band, and then we've got, we do have the 13 stars, and we've got some stripes on the back too. So there are some unifying features of our bands, and that to kind of answer some of your questions you asked earlier is we did a ton of research into the brands that we like. So like Drew Estate, their Undercrown series, it's the same band with different colors. And then like Norteño and some of those other ones, they have the same band with different colors. Or Herrera Stelli is in different fonts, or not different fonts, but different colors and different configurations and all there. Davidoff is the same, and you'll see that, and you'll see some sub bands, and you'll see some. So we liked how there was unifying features to all those bands. So, I doubt anyone's going to see you across the room and see the silhouettes and be like, oh, that's clearly a Founders silhouette on there. But at least we can try, because that's something that we can, bring the brand around, is just that unifying feature of all the silhouettes there.
Well, and it is distinctive. And there's, not that the silhouette hasn't been done before, but it's not incredibly common. Some of the things you see that are common are, sort of a reef type design with, the curved font of the company name, and then maybe a blend name on the side of the band or something. But I agree with you that there's tons of potential. There's like you said, an unlimited fountain of different people's names that you can draw from, and people who had great contributions to the formation of this country, the progression of this country, whatever it is. And I just throwing my own little personal thing in here, I would not worry so much about people's opinions, because I'll with a grain of salt, everybody has faults. And all the guys who were, had their signatures on that document back in 1776 had faults
for sure,
and made mistakes for sure. And things like that. And that doesn't mean we throw them out with we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So
it's almost the duty of the next generation to learn from, grow from, and acknowledge the mistakes. Our parents' generation did stuff that we look back and we're like, holy crap!
Exactly.
Come on,
right?
But at the same time, the understanding and the belief system and all those things, if you're not evolving, and if you're not growing, and if you're not doing those things, it's just natural human progression right there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we had a question actually earlier. I don't know if Justin, if you can find it earlier, we had a question from a viewer asking where they can find and purchase Founders cigars because I'll lead into that with, have you guys gotten any break-ins? Have you gotten any traction with brick and mortar cigar shops? And if they aren't carried at somebody's nearby brick and mortar, where can they purchase them?
Yeah, so this is one of those things that we're learning in the cigar industry too. And it's not the elephant in the room, but we sell retail on our website.
Okay.
We've got a website. It's foundercigarco.com. We sell direct to consumer. And we've been told that is a sticking point with some humidors and some shops. And I've got an answer to that. And I'm not trying to be salesy, but the best way for people to go to your store and ask for my cigars is if they know about us.
Yeah.
And the best way for us to get people to know about us is if we can pour whatever we can into marketing and events and all that, and also give people a place to buy it no matter where they are. And so we're doing everything that we can to support the consumer right now. But our long-term goal is ultimately to support those brick and mortar stores, because it's an experience. You go to a store, and I was talking to a broker too, and he said, Davidoff, they sell their exclusive cigars for 60 days, direct to retail before they even give it to any of their shops, and no one complains about that. So I'm not comparing us with Davidoff at all. But
I think the biggest issue is those that do sell direct to consumer, that they don't have these sales that undercut their retail partners.
For sure.
That's the biggest stick. And if you're a new player, you're going to get a little bit of pushback and some static because they don't know where you're going to fall
100%.
on that piece.
And that's something from the gun industry that is
100%.
very clear.
Yeah. So I've built many sales programs for different manufacturers in the gun industry, and it's so I come from the software. You guys, I used to
Oh, you were in software?
company.
You work
And
for
so-
a software company?
Software companies, it's actually unheard of for a software company to sell to the end user. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
In fact, in the software industry, it's called an integrator or a reseller that sells the software. And generally, the software company doesn't actually sell to the integrator; they sell through distribution. Sorry. And so that I come from that space, and then I worked in the gun industry, and the gun industry was like wildly different from the software space, where in the gun industry, especially working for an accessory company, right? Then the manufacturer sold to the end user direct on their website. They sold through distribution. So you had to build a pricing structure that was conditioned for distribution. And then they built out a direct to dealer program, right? So I did all of that in the gun industry, right? And so we're taking kind of that mindset and we're kind of just walking, we're jumping in feet first into the to the cigar industry. And that's not how it's done here. Keystone pricing was like that was just very eye-opening for us,
right?
Not unheard of. I mean, are very unheard of for us in the gun industry, where we built margins around 20-35% would be heavy to the distributor, where Keystone, if you guys don't know, is 50% to the retailer.
Yeah.
And so just I don't know. I lost my thought.
Well, what I was going to say too is in the gun industry, the manufacturer will often set an MSRP and then a map where it's like in your store can sell this for $9, and I will sell it for $10 on my website, and I'll never discount it past that.
That was what I was trying to drive home. Was that the message that I was trying to get to was that we protect MAP, which is the manufactured advertised price, right? So all of our dealers are strictly held to a MAP price, and by violating MAP, then they're just not allowed to resell the product anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? So we take that mindset and we're applying it to the cigar like we don't know anything. So we're assuming that when we sell online, we're going to sell it higher, right?
Yep.
You're going to pay shipping.
Yep.
We also have fees. So our website requires us to have some age verification, right? We have credit card fees. All those things are built into it. So and you can't buy a single stick.
Yep. You have to buy a minimum of 5 from us.
Right. So you're not spending $9-10 and getting a cigar shipped to you. So it's a completely different experience buying online than it would be at your brick and mortar.
And we completely understand that most, like a lot of brick and mortar are going to check out the second we say we sell online. I totally get that. I absolutely get that.
Yep.
We've talked to some brands too who's like, we only sell to brick and mortar lounges. We have brokers. We can kind of control the distribution of that. We don't sell through distribution. We don't sell through Holtz and Cigars International and all those ones, where we look at it too, where we have signed 2 distributors in Minnesota. One of them works in kind of a 5-state area. And our whole thing too is that I want to be in that smaller tobacco vape shop where a guy who just got done working concrete is going to see our retail tray in there and see that we're veteran owned and all that. And that is my customer. I want that guy. I want him to experience our product and find our product and all that. So, we're navigating it. We've got a hypothesis that we're testing now, and we're working with this now. And kind of our whole thing is that, what can we do to generate sales? What can we do to market the brand? Because ultimately it comes down to marketing the brand. And then we kind of touched on it earlier. We're doing the in-person humidor tour right now. So we're trying to show up to as many shops as we can, meeting with the manager and the owner and the humidor manager and all these different people. And hey, if you want me to give cigars out to people like Raul, he said, he's like, I'd love you guys to come in and there's probably give them out to my customers. And I want to see what they say. And so, but then I went to another shop and they said, that's not cool there. They don't want me to give out cigars because they look at that as me taking a sale from them. So, kind of, you asked a question earlier, what have I learned since TPE? I've learned that there are so many unique perspectives on how people run this thing, which is tough because as an engineer, I want to limit my variables and I want to have one box and one size fits all. And here's my program and everyone fall in lockstep. But it's like,
we have lots of whiteboards that are off.
Oh my goodness. So many whiteboards. I've got a rolling whiteboard.
And it sounds like you guys are also open in the way you're approaching it, knowing that you're going to learn things along the way and you're flexible and you're going to go the way that logic dictates instead of just being lockstep in this fixed model saying this is the model no matter what, because kind of going back to the whole Keystone model thing, you're totally right. There's not a lot. It's sort of an old model, and the cigar industry is still mostly in that model.
Yep.
And although there are some retailers but typically they're larger retailers that are moving away from that model. But they always start there.
Yep. And
it's a model that everybody I've talked to works for this industry. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it,
right,
kind of thing. So
and we got a great comment from our dear friend Allison. I was like, that
God bless you.
Thank you. I've known her for a couple of years now, and I'm pretty sure I will never get her name. It's one of those names. Allison, what is it?
She's Allison.
She's Allison.
Yeah.
It's like Oprah.
Yeah.
She's just Allison.
Yep. She works with a brand, and she's in the retail space. And she asks, how do you feel about not being picked by a retailer because you're selling online?
Yeah. Do you feel a certain kind of way about that, or do you just?
Has that happened? Has a retailer ever said, because you're selling online, it just doesn't fit for us?
We're so new that we get rejected
all the time. No.
Has that been a specific objection?
No, I would say this. We really turned on the sales in July.
I want to interject here for a second.
Go for it.
Because it's great where when we do some of these, we have these conversations, and what's the first thing they say to you when you walk into a shop?
About selling online?
No, about them selling your cigars.
Oh, the best way for me to sell is if people are asking for it.
Yep. But nobody's heard of you.
Exactly.
Right. So it's
so
kind of like a double-edged sword.
And if I feel like the owner can handle this, for example, I went into a shop and the owner was kind of hemming and hawing. He's like, is this a bad time? He's like, I'm like, and I go, here's the thing though. If I come 2 months from now in your busy season, you'll be too busy for me.
Yeah.
And he just lit right up. He's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I had called him, I had scheduled an appointment, I'd done all the things I had to do, and he was still bitching about me being in there. I'm just like, dude,
we need a broker.
Yeah, 2 months from now, you are not even gonna have time for me.
Hey, if there's any brokers watching,
can you put it in the comments? Put it in the comments.
Info at founderscigarco.com.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, and God, I had something.
So
I totally
what I was going to say is if I'm reading the room and I can tell that this guy can handle a little pushback, I'll say something to the effect of like, but here's the problem. You want exclusivity, so you don't want me to sell online, but you don't want to bring on my brand because no one knows about me. Yeah. So how, especially when I can't be on Facebook, I can't be on Instagram, I can't be on Google, I can't do these things. All my traffic, I have to drive to my own website so that people can learn about me. There has to be a give and a take for people to find my product, try my product, and then go to your store and ask for it, because that's where they go on the weekends.
Right. It's all about the experience.
Correct.
You're not going to get that experience buying on our website. I mean, we try. I mean, we send out a thank you card for everyone that orders online that's printed on parchment paper. Tim and I write handwritten notes to everyone.
Yep.
But at the same time, we're building a business with the transition of as we start building out the brick and mortar. The conversation we've always had is that if you live in Forest Lake, Minnesota, and there's a cigar shop that we're in near your zip code, we're going to have a pop-up on the right-hand side of your screen like, well, go visit us here because you can buy it direct here.
So to vision cast for any of the premium humidors listening to this podcast right now, considering bringing on our brand, our long-term goal, and we work with this awesome web developer in Virginia named Jake. He's the best. Love you, Jake. Our goal is for when you come to our website and you put in your zip code to check out, it's going to have a pop-up that says, oh, you're 3 miles away from XYZ tobacco shop. You should go check them out. Yeah. We want to do, and I haven't cracked the code yet to have some form of interactive thing where like they get rewarded for going to the shop and doing something. It's like we haven't thought that far, but we want it to be to the point where we're driving traffic, because those brick and mortars, and we've talked to a lot of people, those brick and mortars are the backbone of any brand. Where
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so Brian worked in software.
Yeah, absolutely. So he gets it.
Well, another viewer left a great comment. He said, if I like what I'm smoking, I let my retailer know. That's it. Yeah. And then Tom said that in the comments. And it's so true.
So what we're trying to do, our whole thesis for the year is we're trying to grow in Minneapolis and Minnesota before we really grow out of the state. And even Lewis said that. He's like, oh, for sure. Like, you guys owning your backyard is going to be the easiest path for you guys to do that. But the way that we're doing that is, so to kind of transition away, if you look at the cigar industry, retail, wholesale distribution, that's the traditional sales. What we're going after too is corporate gifting. We're going after social clubs like we're in right now.
Hemingway Social, Minneapolis.
Golf courses, barbershops, haberdasheries. We're doing that. We're trying to do all these other events. We're trying to show up to, we've donated this box to charity events so much because it's nice. There's a couple local spirits companies that will do this box and a couple bottles of bourbon and something. And all of a sudden you have a retail display worth about $1,000 that this charity is going to go sell at a silent auction for $2,500.
Right. Yeah.
So we're trying to show up to as many things as we can and get invited to all these different events. So we're trying to show up in person as much as we can so that we can build our brand locally. And then every time we go to an event, people are like, oh, these are awesome. Like, what shops are you in? Like, none of them.
Yeah.
Next time you're in your favorite shop,
ask
about us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ask, hey, have you heard of Founders?
And a reminder to anybody who is tuned in and has not seen the deal of the giveaway, put #Founders in the comment on YouTube and Facebook.
Yep.
And you'll be entered to win this tonight. We're going to be picking a winner at near the end of the show.
Absolutely. Yep. So is it time?
I think it is time.
All right. It is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. All right. And as always, Numero de los Muertos is brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn. All right, Numero de los Muertos, episode 149. Garrett, what do you have for us this week?
All right. This week, since it's a table full of Minnesota boys.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you give me that look for after you said Minnesota boys? Like I'm not
No,
Minnesota.
I'm including you. It was an inclusive.
There's a duration for which you become a Minnesota
That kind of, well,
Yeah.
it's 25 years. I've been living here for 25 years. I
You
think
know
that's
enough
gotta
about
count.
Minnesota where you could get this.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
this is about a good time to say that he was born in South Dakota.
I know.
I'm sorry I blew up.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
I'm sorry. I yelled.
All right. Between 1947
Okay.
and 1984, 98 people a year died from this.
Between 47 and 84, 95 people a year died from this.
I love you, Allison, so much.
Ice
All right.
fishing.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
I'm not going to give a softball like that.
All right. As always, viewers, if you guys have guesses, leave them in the comments. We're going to play 20 questions and we try to narrow it down.
Okay. The years 47 to 84.
Yes.
Okay.
Not ice fishing, not chicken pox.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, Tom, go away.
Vikings fans choked to death. Yeah, that's
Yeah, but that would be way more. There'd be like 94,000 people
a year.
Yeah.
But they grew.
is this
I know it's true. It hurts though.
is this globally or US only?
Minnesota.
Oh,
Minnesota
Minnesota
only.
only. Okay.
Does this have anything to do with the 10,000 lakes?
It's actually 15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 15.
It rolls off your tongue better.
It does roll on, yeah.
It is not lutefisk,
Not lutefisk.
not tetanus.
Is this a recreational activity?
No,
Is this a food related death?
it is not.
Is it a workplace related death?
It is.
Okay. Okay. Is it 47 to 84?
Is it related to hockey?
It is not.
Oh, I was going to think Zamboni.
Is it an office job?
It is not. Garrett is close.
Garrett says mining accident. So we're close on mining.
Close
accident.
mining accident. Is it
I'm going more specific.
okay? Okay.
So
I mean, you could say something like suffocation in a mine.
So like for Minnesota, that'd be like Iron Range.
Oh yeah.
okay.
Right?
Is it up in the Iron Range?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
You grew up in the Iron Range.
Are we talking like respiratory, like inhaling like dust from the mines?
Yes. What mines?
Iron ore mines.
Specifically in Minnesota, the Iron Range, that kind of ore is called.
Oh, don't tell me.
Anybody?
Don't tell me.
My family's from Hibbing. If I get this wrong,
Come on, dude.
I'm out of the family.
You're
100%.
Fraboni sausage.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do they call
What
that?
is it called? An open pit mine? No.
No. The kind of ore.
What's the type of ore that they extract?
Iron?
Garret, thank you.
Oh, Garret. Garrett's in a Garret Koppelman.
I'm so ashamed.
Taconite.
Taconite. Okay, I didn't know that.
Not tannerite.
Not tannerite. Tannerite's a whole different.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. I mean,
Tannerite's way more fun.
That
we've
is
blown
a
a lot of
lot more fun.
tannerite up.
Yeah.
And probably a few.
taconite.
Actually,
Inhalation?
tannerite
So-
would be good for Numero de los Muertos someday, because I bet a lot of
Oh, I
people
bet
kick the
some
bucket
People have died.
playing around with tannerite.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Taconite
find.
is a type of iron ore,
Okay.
but it was so pure and very deadly to your lungs. And I mean, so much so that 98 people a year died from it. And
Wow.
that's the big reason why they shut down those mines.
Really?
So 84 is when those all shut down.
Yep.
Huh. The more you know.
Yeah.
Shooting star.
Grant, that's funny. It's a tacky fact.
That's it. Oh, Grant, you're hilarious. Your humor moves me. All right, so that was this week's Numero de los Muertos. All right, so let's move into, actually, before we move into that, into the lightning round, we were talking while the Smoke In commercial was playing. Talk to us a little bit about some of the behind the scenes sort of, the stuff that you brought up as far as working with giving back, doing more.
Yeah. I mean, we looked at what we wanted to be as a differentiator. Did I say that word right?
No, but you're close.
You're close.
I got it.
I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Vocabulary is not.
He's our English major.
We partnered with Operation Cigars for Warriors early, and I can remember getting cigars shipped to me downrange on deployments. And Cigars for Warriors has been around for 10 years.
Yeah. 10-year anniversary this year.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And I've deployed once in the last 10 years. I had a lot of deployments when I was active duty early on, which was prior to Operation Cigars for Warriors, but
Before software?
before software.
Okay. All right.
So one of our differentiators was wanting to brand ourselves as veteran owned. And so we're actually wanting to own that space, right? There's some other companies that are doing some things in the veteran owned cigar, but we want to be known as a veteran owned cigar brand.
Yeah.
And then our mission and our give back. And I think of like when we were talking about earlier about community, the community that's built in the camaraderie with the guys that you deploy with. I mean, smoking cigars on that first deployment became the highlight of the week, especially working nights and, just finding an outlet, something that was new to me 20 years ago, and being able to connect with the guys that were on my fire team when we're out doing perimeter checks. And we're just kind of like, you're nomads out there and being in the desert, smoking a cigar, and it just became the highlight of the week. So the amount of community that's built within the veteran community, within the military, the guys that are deployed to combat areas around the world, and the things that Operation Cigars for Warriors are doing, it's really, really important to us to support their organization. What we do is and because of the FDA, then we're limited on being able to just like pack up boxes and boxes of cigars and ship them to my guys that are deployed. So we have to partner with a nonprofit like Cigars for Warriors. They're able to navigate the red tape with the FDA. And through that organization, we're able to send our cigars to them, which then they have some type of checks and balances system for sending them downrange. And so our cigars are getting to the guys deployed in combat areas around the world through Operation Cigars Warriors. And so as we're evolving, we're not able to provide as many cigars as we'd like, and through the donations that we get on our website or through our brick and mortars, then we are able to then match. And so effectively, when someone makes a donation, we match that. So effectively, that person is actually purchasing 2 cigars that we're able to then send. And we do it quarterly right now, but the goal would be to, like the socks company, where you buy one, give one. We want to be able to buy one, give one. And it doesn't matter where that sale came from, whether it was brick and mortar, through a distributor, or direct on our website. It's buy one, give one. And so we have this ticker on our website, and we actually picked up this idea from Woodchuck, who makes our boxes. They have theirs buy one, plant one. So for everything that's purchased, then they plant a tree, and it's part of their mission statement. And we're just, we're not trying to, invent the wheel here. So we want to be able to give one for every cigar that's purchased. We give a cigar to Operation Cigars Warriors that then ship to a combat veteran or military member, service member that's deployed.
That's fantastic. And we've gotten to know Cigars for Warriors over the years.
Oh, those guys are awesome.
We had a great interview with them at the TPE show even. And the work they do, just giving these deployed service people, 45 minutes to an hour and a half to sit with a cigar. And unfortunately, we're to the point now, like you mentioned, that we have to also, Cigars for Warriors as an organization has to also sort of play defense in keeping the FDA off our backs, so that these cigars actually make it to the service people who are deployed. And so these guys can actually sit down when they're far away from home for months on end. And can take some time to forget about, be off the clock and enjoy a cigar for 45 minutes to 90 minutes and just swap stories about home. I mean, you guys, you went through it, times when it's like, I don't want to talk about duty anymore. I want to talk about, what's going on at home and where I grew up and the places I love to go have burgers and pizza. Those are the times that help you reset.
There's a stigma that in the military, we don't talk about our feelings. I mean, most men, but in the military is it's a men dominated career field, but it's like an onion. When you start smoking a cigar, the things that are unpacked during a session where you're smoking a cigar with your guys, you learn things that you would have never ever learned. And you get to know them, and it just builds the community and the connection. And I in the military, I started smoking cigarettes. So I had, and again, I didn't have a brand or anything. So the guy that I worked with, that I was deployed with on my fire team, smoked Newports. So I smoked Newports for a while, and then I started chewing tobacco. And so then it was either chewing, having a snapper in my lip, smoking a Newport, or coffee beans just to stay awake. We used to stuff coffee beans in our lip.
Oh, man.
And just to stay awake. And so the cigar was just kind of something you look forward to break up your evening. We worked 12 to 15-hour shifts, and so in the middle of the night, 2 a.m, you're lighting up a cigar and you're getting to know the guys that you're with. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Hey, Justin, do me a favor before we jump into lightning round. Just pop up the hashtag again so people know that they can still enter that giveaway before the show is over.
And if I can say one thing before the lightning
absolutely.
Round, we talked about the branding a lot and kind of the founding fathers. It was important to us to have that. We're leading with veteran owned. We have a long-term goal for a give back there too, that we're stepping into every single day. We're taking baby steps towards that. It's not one of those things like, well, we can't do our end goal, so it's not going to do anything now. We're trying to do whatever we can now, but we also are trying to find the line between, being a veteran owned company and like American made translates really well into the gun industry. But like, Dominican and Nicaraguan tobacco hits way harder than like Ohio tobacco
or Alabama.
Alabama.
So it's like, oh yeah, great Minnesota grown tobacco. So like we want it to feel like a legacy brand with that, veteran owned message, and really, have the marrying of both of those.
Age-free, corn-fed Minnesota tobacco.
100%.
Yeah, free range Minnesota tobacco.
Yep,
it's important.
Slightly organic.
Slightly. I want to know about Lanceros. What do let's just talk Lanceros for a second.
Okay.
Do you know about Lanceros?
Skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Small or long? I mean, it ain't long, but it sure is skinny.
Right.
For sure.
100%.
So
have you had many Lanceros?
Couple.
Okay. Here's what I would like you to do.
He's a whore for Lanceros.
Okay.
Here's what I'd love for you guys to do.
Okay.
Is find a brand that makes, a line of cigars where there's a Lancero and maybe a Robusto or a Toro. Okay.
Yep.
Smoke one.
Yep.
Cleanse your palate. Smoke the other one.
Here's what I've learned. I have been told, I don't have a lot of places to check this against, but I've been told that a lot of people who do the blending prefer the smaller ring gauge.
Yes,
that is correct.
So I am well aware of the actual implications.
But most consumers like Toros.
Correct.
And that is why this was a great idea to do Toros.
From a sales
most
perspective,
consumers like Toros.
We've got three sizes.
Yeah.
Robusto, 5x50, Toro, 6x52, which I think if you put them on a mic, they might be like a 6x51.
Yeah.
We got a little
51, 52,
tight roller,
whatever it takes.
Tight roller in the Dominican there. And then our Churchill's a 7x48.
Okay.
Yeah, and Garret Koppelman makes a great suggestion using the Luciano Dreamer line. There's a couple shops you can get them locally.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Very good cigar. Very good cigar.
And so smaller ring gauges.
Yep.
Do you know the deal? Do you know why they?
Well, because it's a surface area versus a volume equation.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. And the most flavorful part of the cigar is that wrapper.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
Not always true, but typically. And those smaller ring gauges, you get more wrapper per filler.
Mm-hmm.
And so
he's just going to keep selling you, trying to get you to make Lancero.
I get it. No, it's the volume, the packing equation. I took those engineering classes for sure.
Man.
So you're speaking my language right
now. All right.
For sure.
Maybe
is there a whiteboard behind you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we do it in stages. We'll go Corona first.
Okay.
And then we'll work our way to Lancero.
Is there a threshold where it's not a Lancero anymore? What is because I know some people have a 50 whatever Robusto and
traditional Lancero is 7.5 by 38.
Okay.
That's his wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is 5 5/8 by 46.
Okay.
Which is typically Corona Gorda.
Okay.
But yeah, traditional true Lancero is 7.5 by 38.
But
38 is a very tough ring gauge to roll, though.
The cool thing about the cigar industry is you can make an 8.5 by 14 and call it the unit, the
Newport Special,
the Newport,
the Virginia Slim,
absolutely,
and call it whatever you want. This industry is so cool that some companies don't make conforming sizes just because they're like, don't put me in a box, know. And
this is a really important part that you just brought up. We didn't talk about the blends at all and how we went about with these four. So we knew that we had to play the hits.
Yeah.
Robusto, Toro, Churchill. We knew that. And we knew that Toro was going to be probably the front runner, followed closely by Robusto. Yep. And then Churchill is probably going to be really streaky, maybe more events, maybe whatever. When we tell people all the time, we just had an event here for a card night. And a guy was like, all right, give me the spiel. And I said, here's the thing. Because our entire brand is about community, I want to make sure if you've never smoked a cigar before, that if anyone hands you my Maduro, it's going to be a good experience for you.
Right.
So when people are like, oh yeah, hand me your Maduro, I'm like, well, here's the thing. If you're looking for like that, like CAO Brasilia, like that really deep dark, oily, cigar. Like that's not what this is, and that's not what I'm telling you that this is. I'm telling you this is a very approachable cigar.
True medium body.
Yes, this entire line of cigars is approachable. And that's by design, because if you're new to cigars, and if you look at a lot of our content too, a lot of our content is how to cut a cigar, how to light a cigar, how to smoke a cigar, how to fill your butane, because the best way for you to encourage someone into community is to make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
And the best way for them to feel welcome is to remove that aspect of them feeling stupid. Because think about the first time you smoke cigars with guys, like, oh, did I cut this wrong? Am I putting too much in my mouth? Is this too wet? Am I supposed to bite it? It's like there's all these things that you don't know as a new cigar smoker. So we wanted to try to remove as many barriers as we could to get people into that. Yeah. And the biggest thing for us too was having this entire line be approachable. And so the next four we're developing, we're taking a little bit of liberties, but like this entire line is they are phenomenal smokes, and they are quality, and you're going to have a good time no matter which one you grab.
Well, and this goes back to the ones that I tried at Cigars and Baseball last year. I like the fact that everybody's got different tastes when it comes to the way a cigar draws.
Yep.
I actually prefer a draw to have just a little bit of tension on it, where it's not super open like a straw.
Yep.
And these cigars have that. They've got that, because most Cuban cigars draw really tight.
Yep.
Now these are not really tight. They're just on the right side of snug, where there's a little resistance there, and that helps them smoke slower.
Yeah,
they burn slower. This cigar, I've touched up the burn, because I've been talking a lot. I touched up the burn maybe once during this broadcast,
not a one,
but it still keeps burning, and it's burning really slow. So, and that people like that because they get their money's worth.
Yeah,
right.
Is that your?
So Garrett's got a great. So Garret compliment our viewer, Lincoln Lancero. Because if you think about a Lancero, it's thin, it's long and thin, and Lincoln was long and thin. He was a very tall, lanky gentleman.
So it's funny. So Brian's wife went to an event where, was it Gina who talked about having a cigar where women who like to smoke cigars, they don't want a Toro, they don't want a Gordo, they don't want something big. So maybe you should have a cigar named like the who's the first lady who's really well known. It's like, maybe you have a size called the first lady. And so the problem is we name our cigars after the blend. But not the size.
Yeah.
But so that's the thing too, where we would probably have a Lancero, but then we'd offer them in all the different sizes. So
and are you have you thought outside of the political founder spectrum, like doing a Steve and Bill and Waz founders?
I think it's on the table.
You're going down the software road.
I used to work for software.
I think it's on the table, because if you look at some of the people that were instrumental, I mean, for sure. I mean,
they're founders,
right? Yeah, you heard it here first.
You can you can send the check later.
That's enough out of you,
Garrett. This was a job interview, and you're hired.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's jump into our lightning round.
Okay.
Awesome.
And our lightning round is brought to us by our friends at J.C. Newman Cigar Company. They are America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and the American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 112-year-old El Reloj factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or their visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. And guys, be sure to check out howaboutthatcigar.com on the sidebar. If you guys want to learn more about how you can visit the El Reloj factory in Cigar City, please click on the link on the right side of howaboutthatcigar.com and learn more about that. So, lightning round, non-cigar related questions. Brian, I'm going to start with you on this first one.
Okay.
If you could hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
Tom Cruise.
Dude,
that is a first time answer.
It is. And
all right, why? I have to know.
Like it.
I'm gonna go off of Days of Thunder. It was an awesome movie, and I just wanted to be a race car driver.
Rubbing his racing.
Yeah, and he's got a legacy of a career as a movie star. So, and then he's done some really just weird things. So I'm just like to be in the guy's brain. I mean,
that is not where I thought you were going to take that. I'm glad you went there.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I like that. Yeah, you're not afraid to get inside that mind, because I am. Honestly, I think
100%.
it's like a burlap sack full of cats.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
you're not afraid.
In a bathtub.
In a bathtub, exactly.
Yes.
100%.
All right. So, Angelo, same question for you.
I'm going to go with Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Love it.
Great answer.
Yep.
I think we've had that a couple times.
Love that
but
guy.
that's
Yep.
fantastic.
What I love about Joe Rogan is that he, and we talked about this earlier, I don't think he has an angle. He's genuinely curious
He
about
is.
so many different things. And yeah, people beat him up where it's like, oh, you're not giving the proper weight of like this person's opinion versus that person's opinion. It's like, who cares? Like he's asking questions.
Yeah.
He's giving space for people to talk. And he's not like, oh, I voted Democrat, so I can only have Democrats on my thing, or I only voted for people who like this, so I can only have these people. He has all the different people.
He does.
And so just and yeah, he's got a great history and all that stuff. Just
For all the people that I have seen that have shit on Joe Rogan, I can guarantee you they haven't spent more than 10 minutes listening to any of his podcasts or anything that he has done.
Who else can you name who has had Bernie Sanders on one episode and then Alex Jones on another episode?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about the far corners of the
Spectrums.
spectrum politically,
for sure.
and he has everybody on from those far right and left spectrums and everybody in between, and he doesn't care. He just wants to learn.
For
And
sure.
I totally dig that.
Yep.
Good.
All right, so Brian, back to you. If you were about to get into a fight, what would your soundtrack music be?
I'll take this one because you went first. I got one.
Yeah.
All right,
Go.
Angelo, do it.
It's Raining Men. Why not? You can't tell me
my
that wouldn't be the most intimidating thing that you're about to throw down. I'm assuming we're like I'm getting outnumbered, and then all of a sudden like it's Raining Men.
That is
Hallelujah, Raining Men. Yeah, it's got to be.
That is, I can see the scene playing out.
God, I know
that
you
is
can.
my
It's probably gonna start raining physically too because that makes it more dramatic.
Yes.
But I'm seeing like in a back alley, it's probably dark and foreboding.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I took a wrong turn. This isn't where I parked my car, and like I'm about to get jumped.
These guys come out with chains,
Yep.
shivs,
Yep.
and all of a sudden, instead of like some heavy music you hear, it's Raining Men.
For sure.
Oh my
I love
gosh, I love it so much.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. I don't know how
Try
you're
and
going to top that, Brian.
top that.
So
Or
my,
just go a completely different.
my snap reaction is I have kids, small kids,
Yep.
that 7, 5, and 1, and so my 7 and my 5-year-old talk to Alexa all the time.
Yep.
And so they're constantly playing their songs. And
Do they
like,
keep doing Eye of the Tiger?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Mine do.
Okay, that would be a good one.
Yeah, it would be.
actually. I'm going to go with that one. Though.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of this song that my 7-year-old plays, Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears. I don't know who the artist is on this, but all these kids songs that Alexa plays on a daily basis, one of these songs would be.
Yeah, because what it does is it puts you in a fit of rage when you hear it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I can hear another Gummy Bears.
I am so grateful that my kids were already old enough.
Oh.
They were already older before, because we don't have Alexa. We've got the Google, stuff in our house, and we can always say, hey, Google, do this or do that or play this or play that. And I
just the
can't
worst.
imagine when my kids were small if that would have been around. It would have been nonstop Baby Shark or Dora the Explorer or Caillou or whatever.
And here's the thing: most kids songs, they're absolute bangers. We all know that. But what gets you is like they can only listen to it for 14 seconds, and it's like, Alexa, change it. I'm like, Alexa, shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah.
You just started. You didn't even get through the first verse yet.
Oh my goodness.
No, so your kids probably were maybe a little too young for Frozen. Were they a little too young for Frozen? Did you have any?
Yeah,
I've got
Frozen.
4 sons, so yeah,
They
we
never-
didn't get a lot of Frozen.
Not
in the
into
house.
Frozen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
Frozen was
lot
like
of Encanto.
I was about to do some Frozen.
Encanto. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that yet.
What's
that's a good
the
one.
Encanto? Drip, drip, drip. That
Oh, yeah.
one, oh, that one's been playing.
That'd be a good fight music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So you guys choose one of the following. You could hit a home run as a starting pitcher. You could score a touchdown as a defensive lineman.
Yep.
You could score a goal in a hockey game as the goalie, or score a goal in a soccer game as the goalie?
This is really easy. This is very easy. And the first touchdown I ever scored was as a defensive end.
So dope.
I hit the running back as they were doing a handoff. The ball popped straight down, went straight up into my arms, and I ran it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Nice.
Love it.
You have it on video?
100 times out of 100 would go with defensive linemen scoring a touchdown.
Nice.
But you don't take me as somebody that was ever a big boy. And
No.
there's something about watching that big boy,
Oh, yeah.
you know, at the college or
Richard Seymour from New
Oh, my
England.
gosh.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
or even the Minnesota Vikings where who was it? Was it Alan Page who ran the wrong way?
Yep.
Yes.
Even that was entertaining.
For
now,
sure.
you
Yeah.
know,
Now you can look back
now
on
you
it
can
and laugh.
laugh.
What about you, Brian?
I was gonna go with the hockey goalie because it would just be like very slow
That's true.
with all that the pads, and he's just moving across the ice very slow, and then he scores.
So, okay, hold on a second. In this fantasy for you, you have like the goalie breaking away from the goal with the puck.
Yep.
Down.
Yep.
Deking out the entire defense
100%.
and scoring a goal.
Yep.
Against tradition.
a gold net.
Yep.
Against just like him launching it from his goal. So
Yeah.
I love
We're
where
not
he-
talking an empty netter here.
No,
We're
no,
talking a covered
No,
net.
This is like the soccer goalie when they pull the goalie and he goes down and
Yes.
header and scores or whatever. This
Yeah.
is the goalie, you know, like just
I
Marty Brodeur comes out of the crease. He crosses the blue line. He crosses them up. Like I love where you took that. Absolutely.
Oh my
love
gosh, I want to see that so much.
And then he rides the pony.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, it puts the stick down like the. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I love it.
Okay. That was good.
All right.
Oh,
So let's move into this week's Notable Smokable. And Notable Smokables brought to us by our friends at Ace Prime Cigars. Notable cigars, notable passion, notable purpose. So, guys, each week we name a cigar that we smoked recently that was notable to us. It could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades that we just smoked for the first time in a long time, or it could be a brand that we tried for the first time ever. Now, obviously, you guys are smoking mostly your own stuff. We totally get that.
Yep.
But when you go outside of your own brand portfolio, is there anything you smoked recently that really kind of caught your interest?
I have two that come to mind for me
Right on.
for two different reasons. I had my first coffee cigar,
Okay.
which surprisingly, I've heard a lot of my guys talk about like, oh, coffee cigars are the best. Yeah, coffee cigars are the best. Why have I never done this before? So we're down in Florida. I'm cleaning the pool out. I've got a coffee. I light up a Drew Estate Undercrown Shade and had that coffee cigar. And that is a very memorable, like that's a core memory for me right now. Like
yeah.
that cigar. And then the other one that comes to mind is the, was it the 2019 cigar of the year? Was the Aging Room Cuatro Nicaraguan.
Ugh.
My buddy John at our cigar night on a Tuesday, we got to the point where it's fun, like just buy, it's fun buying people stuff. And he showed up one day. He's like, all right, I got everyone something. And he had been aging. He bought that cigar and then aged it for like 6 or 10 months in his humidor and then gave us all that. So we all smoked that cigar together around the fire. And just, I mean, that's a special place anyway, but that cigar was awesome.
Nice.
And that experience was great too.
Very
Great
cool.
ones.
Yeah.
Just economics. I mostly smoke our cigars.
Oh, yeah.
It's less
Yeah.
expensive. So on base, then we have one of these cabinet, like fake cabinet humidors. They're not humidified at all. So when I bought a cigar when I was up at Camp Ripley, and it was Rocky Patel
1990.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great cigar.
But I had to put it in our humidor for 2 months just to,
Make sure it checked out.
Yeah. And I smoked that one. And so that was probably the most recent cigar that I've smoked outside of ours that was, pleasant.
Right on.
True story. When I quit my job to go full time doing what we do, I bought two cigars. I bought a Davidoff, one of their, I think it was an anniversary, and 1990, because a buddy of mine once told me, he was like, oh yeah, 1990, it's going to be good. And so yeah, I bought that 1990 when I quit my job to kind of celebrate. So
Nice.
that cigar has been always near and dear to my heart.
What's the two that we got sitting in the humidor that Josh gave?
Ooh, Partagas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we got the,
We're going to celebrate that tomorrow.
yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
What was
Yeah.
your notable this week, Garrett?
My notable was the Padrino by Amendola cigars.
The purple band.
Oh my gosh.
God, that cigar.
Jeffrey Amendola may be my spirit animal right now. Dude is just killing it with those blends. Two of my new favorite blends, the Padrino and the Especiale.
Nice. My notable this week was the from Protocol Cigars, the Bass Reeves Maduro. I've started. They sent some to us, and I started smoking through the. They have a natural and a Maduro, and the Maduro. I'll say it's a tight race. I think they're both very good cigars. So far, the Maduro is a little bit in front. I really enjoy that cigar, and there will be a review coming soon on howaboutthatcigar.com.
All right.
So that was this week's Notable Smokables, brought to us by Ace Prime, improving lives through fine cigars. Visit aceprime.com to learn more. So to give our viewers an idea of some cool stuff we have coming up in the next couple weeks, next Monday night on the 14th, we have none other than Michael Herklotz from Ferio Tego Cigars. After the illustrious zipping up the fly, I don't want to use the word incident. It wasn't an incident. It was an occasion.
I was going to say occasion.
Yeah.
It was an occasion.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, when you see a bro needs help, you help.
You just go in there and help.
Got to be hands on.
Just go in there and help. I mean,
hands on.
Yeah. So he's on the 14th, and then the following Monday on the 21st, we have Ram Rodriguez from El Artista Cigars, and then closing out the month of March, we have John Carney from La Flor Dominicana joining us on the show. So guys, thank you so much for being on episode 149. We always love hanging out here at Hemingway Social.
Absolutely.
And it makes it even better to hang out with you guys. So we're excited for your brand. And so give our viewers just a final, and we're going to do the drawing as well, but give our viewers, before we do the drawing, a final plug on where's the best place for them to find out info about your brand.
Yeah, what I would say right now, foundercigarco.com. We also try to post a lot on Instagram. So I believe it's just Founder Cigar Co on Instagram, but we have everything that you need online. We also have a corporate gifting side of things too. So if you have a business or a special person in your life that you're trying to get something cool for, that's something we're really trying to lean into as well, to give people an opportunity to share the gift of a cigar with people. So we would love to hear from you guys too. One of the things we want to do is eventually invite people into the whole naming process and all that too, and just get some crowdsourced
Talk
stuff
about
behind there.
putting someone else's logo on our boxes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This box too has been the one thing that we're able to really co-brand and put your name and likeness and stuff on there too. So
there's a local university.
Oh yeah.
Doing stuff.
There's a pretty major university football team out of Minnesota that is going to be doing these for their donors. So that's been pretty cool. And that's been a part that we're really excited about. So, and we would just say too, if you're in your favorite lounge, ask about us.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask about us. That helps us so much if people have heard about us a couple times. So if you got any feedback for us, if you have any questions, you can also just email us at the contact page, and we'd love to hear from you.
We're the only two people.
Absolutely.
So if you call or email us, it will be me or Angelo.
Yep.
Mostly Angelo.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to give you viewers, 30 more seconds to go in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. If you haven't already, go in the comments and put hashtag founders, because we're going to be doing this drawing in just a few seconds. So you've got just a little more time. So I'm going to pull up the page so everybody can see the drawing. Yeah. So just vamp for a little while, talk about your day, talk about.
I feel like we should give people the context of the software company.
I think so.
So this is like the thing that we like strung them along with. And so, these guys are gracious hosts, and they were asking about things that, we might not want to talk about, like, whatever. And I said, if you want to waste your entire night, talk to Brian about the software company that he used to work for, because it's usually a long drawn out story with like 14 different details and acquisitions and this, and the punchline is basically that he worked for a software company. So yeah, that's we give Brian shit for some of his detailed processing, and he does a great job providing context for people. So that's where the software company,
we're very detailed oriented
external processors.
We worked out of my basement. Thank you, Gina, for letting us use
she's
the basement.
saint.
And the kids' playroom for how many years?
Way too long.
So we've built, a business out of that. And so we've worked literally shoulder to shoulder and so I forget that I've told you the story 100 times. But
he always goes, "Do you know I work for a software company?" I'm like, yeah, and that's when I usually turn back to my computer and move on to something.
Did you just check out of this conversation?
Absolutely, like 5 minutes ago.
All right, so let's do this giveaway right now. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump right in. I'm going to click on draw, and there it's going through everybody's names. And the winner is, don't pick How About That Cigar.
Don't pick one of my friends.
The winner, Chuck is our good friend here from right here in Minnesota.
Way to go, Chuck.
So Chuck,
Love
congratulations on this prize pack. We will make sure to get that to you one way or another, whether it's in person or whether it is through the mighty mail system.
Well, I live just a mile from Chuck, so
Okay,
great.
I'd be honored to
the courier.
deliver. Yeah.
So I'm going to check your ID. So I have to verify that you're over the age of 21. And then you're gonna gift it to Chuck.
He's just made it
So
over
just in case
the
the
wire.
FDA is watching.
Yeah,
Just
All the checks
over the
and
wire.
balances.
He's 21 and a half.
nailed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Born in 2021. No,
01.
2001.
2001. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. But bro, my son's turning 21 this year. So I don't know what to tell you. It
And
happens.
I just want to, if anybody watched our episode with Meet the Professor yesterday, not only was that a blast.
Oh
but,
yeah.
During the hot seat episode with Melanie Sisko, she asked Matt, what is one of Garrett's fashion
Mistakes.
mistakes?
Full pause.
Yeah. And Matt said, Garrett wears this blue shirt paisley thing that, I don't like. And so today I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to turn it up.
He did
So-
turn it up to 11.
Looks
today-
great.
Today I went and I got some pretties.
Yeah.
Missing the bow
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah. I wish I had more taco meat to bring to that party, but
That's so good.
No, I got nothing. It's not the shirt itself. It was the frequency. There was a period of time where it's like every time we had a show, you were wearing that shirt.
I love that.
And I was like, bro, could we wear something different?
Mm-mm.
You need some merch.
You do need.
True.
Some merch.
Well, we should talk about your shorts.
Oh gosh. This is just devolving into chaos right now. They call them shorts for a reason, Brian. They're supposed to be short, okay?
No.
I didn't read anywhere in the employee handbook that I couldn't wear a 4-inch inseam into the office.
no.
Okay.
No.
Roller skates? Were roller skates involved?
Yeah, if the price is right.
I had a bad experience.
All I can say about that.
I love it.
4-inch inseam. I think
So hot.
That's where it should. That's a good closing point.
You're
right
breaking
there.
boundaries.
It's a good cigar name. 4-inch inseam.
Yeah.
Just saying. Put that in your Rolodex for future cigar names.
It's under consideration.
Guys, thank you so much for being
Yeah,
on the
this
show,
was
man.
great.
Had a
This was
blast
so
talking
great.
to you guys, and so congrats, Chuck, to our winner, and for all our viewers and listeners, guys. As always, man, we're so grateful to you guys for watching and listening. Be sure to check out founderscigarco.com. And as always, if you guys have questions for Garrett or myself, make sure to email us on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Be sure to follow us on all social media at HPT Cigar. Make sure, guys, to go on the YouTube channel and subscribe. Watching is great, but subscribing is better. And go and make sure to follow us on Facebook and like the page as well, so you don't miss anything we have going on. And of course, guys, as always, burn cigars.
Not bridges.
We'll see ya.
Thanks, everybody.